Section 3, Korea and its traditions. How are Korea's history and culture linked to those of China and Japan? By the end of the section, how geography affected life on the Korean peninsula, influence of China and Buddhism on Korea, major achievements of the Chosun dynasty. So if we look at key terms, people, places, Hangul, which is this Korean alphabet, and that's going to have an impact on literacy rate, so the number of people who can read and write. And so if we look at literacy, here's a more modern set of information, and what they're doing is they're comparing those people ages 15 to 24 to those 65 and above, and you can see that literacy rates have increased fairly dramatically, especially for younger groups of people, so more and more people across the world can read and write. So if we look at Korea and its traditions, living among mountains and seas, Korea has a tremendous amount of coastline because it's a peninsula, but you can also see that mountains, especially in the northern part of Korea, very mountainous, and so they're going to have an impact on the development of Korea. If we look at location, it is sandwiched between China and Japan, and so Korea is going to be kind of this crossroads between China and Japan. And because it's so close to China, China has always been kind of a major influence all throughout Korea's history. If we look at the Silla and Goryeo dynasties, this is when Buddhism and Chinese culture have huge influences. And so the Silla are able to unite kingdoms through their allegiance and alliance to the Chinese. And so because of that close diplomatic relationship, there's also going to be a lot of cultural influences. So you see Koreans taking, for example, movable type from the Chinese and making some improvements to them. And then you also see this celadon, which is this porcelain, but it's this greenish color. And so again, Korea takes something and they learn from the Chinese, but then they put their own natural spin on it. So the Chosun dynasty is by far the longest lasting dynasty in Korean history, and it's through the Chosun where the Koreans developed the Hangul, this phonetic alphabet. It's much easier to learn alphabet versus characters, so you're going to have a higher literacy rate in Korea than you have in some other places. Japan attempts to invade Korea. It fails, but what gets interesting is they take Korean artisans back with them to Japan, and when you look at Korea and Japan, their languages are more closely related than they are to Chinese. So there's been this relationship between Japan and Korea all throughout their history.